Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Asif Malik and I'm CEO of MAM Kopi Solutions, which is a professional services firm based in Jakarta. I welcome all of you to our CEO panel discussion, and we will be having discussion with experts and leaders from F&B sector. The topic of today's discussion is navigating the crisis and embracing the growth. Embracing the growth through innovation. Okay. So joining me today is we have experts from the F&B sector. I'm going to introduce our experts. So we have Mr. Joy Suranta. He is the managing director of Unilever Food Solutions Indonesia. We also have Mr. Danny Ramintang. He is the Vice President of Supply Chain Management for the Jiwa Group. We also have Mr. Vico Lomar. He is the co-CEO of Fore Coffee. And we also have Mr. Sam Hartoto. He is the Operations Director for the Aerofood Indonesia. So before we actually start our discussion, I will give 30 seconds to each of our panelists. So please introduce yourself very briefly. Okay, so we can start with Mr. Joy Suranta. Tarigan, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Asif. Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Joy Suranta Tarigan. I'm working for Unilever Indonesia, and now is in the position of managing director for Unilever Food Solutions. So the major business I'm taking care of is separated with the retail. So the major customer is basically F&B industry, HoReCa business, with the selected portfolio to serve them in their business. Thank you, Asif.
Thank you, Mr. Joy. Mr. Danny Ramintang.
Hi, I'm Danny. Basically, I was working with Jiwa Group, one of the new coffee, I would say a coffee industry, and I've been working with them to handle the supply chain, especially for all of the productions and including the sales and also for the purchasing as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Danny. Mr. Vico Lomar.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Asif. Hi, I'm Vico. I'm now as the co-CEO of Fore Coffee Indonesia. Well, I just for about 8 months in Fore Coffee, and we tried to getting through this pandemic together with the Fore Coffee. So, looking forward to this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vico. And Mr. Sam Hartoto. Mr. Sam Hartoto is here with us. Okay, maybe there's a problem. So maybe we can continue to our discussion. So today the topic of our discussion as I introduced. Okay, Mr. Sam Hartoto. Okay, Mr. Sam Hartoto, can you hear?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Sam, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, trouble with our.
No problem. Can you please introduce briefly yourself and your business?
Yeah, I'm Sam Hartoto. Actually, now I'm working for PT Aerofood Indonesia, which is a subsidiary from Garuda Indonesia. We engage food and services actually from the in-flight catering and industrial catering. So actually we have a business for the in-flight catering and also the industrial catering. Thank you, Asif. Hi, everybody.
Interesting. Thank you so much, everyone, for the introductions. So now we are going to have our discussion. As I said, the topic of our discussion is navigating through the crisis and embracing the post-pandemic growth with innovations. I have a series of some interesting questions, and the audience would like to hear your insights on that. So the first question is, how the food industry is affected by the crisis. We know that because of this crisis, all sectors, all businesses are affected more or less. But we would like to know, how is the food industry affected specifically by the crisis? So this question is open. Any of you panelists can take this. Who would like to answer this?
Okay, Asif. Just an opening. I mean, later on, maybe the other expert can, the other panelists can add. On the macro level, that pandemic is kind of like a perfect storm for food and beverages business, and it's first time for everyone. So we cannot learn from our experience. It's new for everyone, new for any player. So in the short, I may say that when the major causes that impacted of the food and beverages business is the people mobility. When the people mobility is declining because of the people fear to going out, and also some of the restriction from the government policy. So when the people mobility is going down significantly, starting from the Q2 last year, after the first case of the pandemic, so it's drive two significant changes. Number one is the demand shift, and then the second one is the channel shift itself. So in the spectrum of the demand shift, there's a significant change from the away from home to become the in-home consumption. So when the away from home consumption is declining significantly, but in the other side, in-home consumption for food and beverages is significantly increasing. That is what happened in the food industry. For the channel shift perspective, it's also that it gives more favorable positions for the proximity operator or proximity stores. So people just want to get the product, the goods, the foods as close as possible to their surrounding area. So it gives the tractions to the proximity store in compared to other channel shift itself. So these major changes, I think, create the extreme change in food and beverages business. So you know that in the past 5 years, that the mood of the food and beverage business is to go to do the expansions, because market Indonesia is very promising and very attractive. But during the pandemic time, the mood is shift from the expansion mode to become the survival mode in the short term. After doing this surviving mode, then rebuild the business itself. Some people, some player can adapt. So I may say in the total 100 of player in F&B, some player is permanently closed, some is temporary closed, some make it operation still on the field, but creating the new ways of working with the limited service, limited time of service, limited seating capacity, and etc. But also there's some small part of the business is thriving. Like I see that the home caterer, when the in-home consumption is increased, some new player come to fill in the gap to serve the in-home consumption. Small caterer is rising, but the big caterer is of course declining because the big event like wedding and MICE is also declining. That is the biggest spectrum, I think, what's happening during the pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Joy. It was very insightful. So the key takeaways are that there are basically trends, and people are scared of going out far from their homes. They want to buy as close to their home in their proximity. And also, some businesses are thriving while others are declining. Okay, So any of our other panelists would like to add to this?
Yes, I want to add.
Other point to add? Yes, Mr. Sen, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, yeah, of course. I mean, the food industry is one of the industry directed hit big, yeah, by crisis, yeah. And like in our industry, actually, B2B business is very terrible. And like for us, as Innovate catering, actually depend on airlines industry. You know now that traveling ban and then policy, you know about the last restriction, this is impact to our business actually. I just give comment that industry like hotel, restaurant, and catering, this is very what is it? Got impact from the tourism. If tourism still not encouraged, it's difficult for the HoReCa industry. Like in our business, actually, we until like Pak Joy said that the big caterer is drop is very significantly. In the for us as you know, the production numbers is decreased until 90% because people that there's no traveling now. People is just stay home, cannot go everywhere. Ireland is dropped very significant. So this is actually of course the food industry affected to by the crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sen. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Sen. So thank you for your input. We can continue to our next question. Our next question is how SME, small and medium enterprises, and the large companies are coping with the situation. So like you mentioned already that their, businesses are affected by the crisis, but now what is the response from SMEs and the large companies to cope with this situation? So who would like to come in to answer this?
Yes, I might want to answer one of those questions. Basically, what we're doing right now as a large or SME, we're trying to focusing more on the people right now instead of focusing on our businesses, because as you know, the government is actually forcing us to change the way we interact with people, especially for the physical distancing. So we're trying to, like, for example, our outlets, we at the beginning probably we can fit in like 50 to 60 people in one of our outlets, but now we have to reduce it by half at least. And we also need to focus on the people. Why? Because they are actually the major driven of the business in F&B, because they purchase the food and they want to buy it, they drink it, and they consume everything. And I think we trying to do a lot of program, such as we releasing a new menu that focusing more on health, focusing more on and giving a campaign that everyone, if you want to buy the product from our outlets, then you might want to go physical distancing, at least 1 meter, wearing a mask. We emphasize that during the pandemic because, but in some ways, for us, especially in my business and in the Jiwa Group Industries, which is we are focusing on the coffee shop, a small one, from mid to low. We also facing the issues of supplies because of all the transportations and all of the maybe everyone here know, especially Pak Joy, you might know this very well because because everyone is using all the transportation to support this COVID-19 pandemic support, such as the sending a vaccine from overseas to here. So a lot of the supplies from the overseas also limited to us. So we cannot, we have to force ourselves to change that. Instead of using imported products, we're trying to use a locally sourced product and such of a thing. We also emphasize like using sort of like a campaign to washing your hands before you eat your meal, or emphasizing people also to use apps to purchase the goods, such as so we can order the menu even before you came to the store, to the actual store, or you can use as services like Grab or Gojek or some other like Shopee Food or something. That's probably the way that SME or large companies trying to cope with it. Thank you.
Yes, interesting, Danny. So basically, how the businesses are responding is basically implementing the safety measures, distance, and also running the campaigns, as you said, to basically make sure that people are following the health protocols. Thank you, Mr. Danny. Any of other panelists would like to add to this?
Yeah, I think what Pak Danny said is right. And one thing for sure that we are accelerating the digital presence in the store, which is now is becoming the a bigger chunk of the channel for the F&B industry. So I think that's one of the investing what we cope during the pandemic. Thank you.
Yeah, I think very important.
If I may add, Asif, that
yes, Mr. Joy.
Of course, we cannot give up.
Yes,
right?
yes.
The business must go on. So the question is how to stay relevant in this current changes, how to stay relevant and adapt with the current situations. I think Pak Denny and Pak Vico is already show some practical practice that they've done in their business. But in overall, I think what all the players doing that we need to continue rebuild and pivoting the business. So reshape, rebuild, and also pivoting the business. I may say that if we can summarize, it could be skewed into the three platform. Number one, of course, we need to protect our people, our own employee, both in their health and also their well-being. The second one is to secure the business. And how do we secure the business? We do the redeployment. I said before that there is a demand and channel shift. So we redeploy our resources to the tailwind category, to the tailwind channel, and to the tailwind portfolio. So the second one is also we need to pivoting our portfolio. So immune boosters, health consciousness is something that menu that we can explore, because people is already really mindful on what they are eating compared to previous period. Last, as a concern, Pak Denny, is to secure supply, especially for the core product, because current logistic pressure, not only local but also globally, is also under pressure. Last but not least is, of course, the customer collaborations. With the new ways of working, we try to find a new way on how to support, to inspire, and also to progress our customer through collaborations. Providing 24/7 service is become mandatory, because people operator need now product instead of doing the inventory forecasting. And last but not least is, of course, pandemic will not be forever. So what we are doing now is to prepare ourselves, to prepare our muscle to come back stronger after this pandemic era.
Thank you, Mr. Joy. That is very insightful, actually. So, like you said, it's very important to adapt to the situation. Okay, as the things change, then you have to adopt. Like you said, you have to focus on the supply chain and so on. So, I think this naturally leads me to my next question. Now, all the businesses that are adopting or coping with the situation, where are we heading? Where would F&B industry heading post-pandemic? Are the changes going to be permanent or is it temporary? So this is one of the important questions that I would like to ask. Where are we heading? Where F&B industry is heading now post-pandemic? So who would like to go ahead?
Well,
Okay.
well, I think the growing demand is to responsible consumption towards the environment as well. I think they can move forward to the environmental and product with health and sustainability will survive. I mean, people are, as Pak Joy said, people are starting to aware of the health benefit of some products, and then they are actually trying to consume more of the stuff that health product instead of the not healthy products now. I mean, so I think the product with health and the sustainability will definitely goes into the market, and also for the convenience as well. As people are moving towards changing to technologies, so they are seeking more convenience, and a lot of the industries actually, because of the pandemic, they are being sorry, let me say this way. Before the pandemic, we actually, technology is one of the supporting system. But after the pandemic, technology will become the main sources of the system that has to be integrated with our business, because it provides them the convenience. Let's say back then, if you want to eat something, you have to go physically to the counters. You have to buy and purchase the food. But now, with a single click from your phone, you can buy it. It will deliver to your home directly. I mean, it's more like to be a direct consumer approach. And also the supply chain approach, their specifications, there will be more vertical integration in the future to control supply, benefits, cost, and safety as well. And people are starting to maximize the using of the e-commerce as well. So I think in the future, the tech solution might be become one of the biggest in this food and beverage industries. Yeah, I think that's what I've been thinking. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. So basically, as of according to your view, the shift from offline to online will stay post-pandemic. That's basically what we are expecting. Okay. So, Mr. Joy or Mr. Vico, one.
Okay. Just adding up a little bit, Asif. Expecting that the life or the market will be back with pre-pandemic era is just a dream, the light dreaming. The pandemic changing the behavior. Some is temporary, some will be permanent, like Pak Denny said. When technology previously is only add-on to the business, but post the pandemic, it become the major force of the business itself. So I think post-pandemic era, there will be new ways of working in the business. So number one, hygiene Previously, hygiene is only the top of the cherry on the doing the F&B business. But I think in the future, hygiene will become the hygiene factor. It's become a mandatory for the restaurant, hotel, and any food and beverage business to operate. And the second one is delegated service. Previously, everything we doing by ourselves, but now is doing the delegated service, like on the logistic, on the kitchen sharing, and everything. So it's the opportunity become open, at least to minimize the cost of operations. And then food safety, food costing, something used to be precious or unique platform, but now it's become a mandatory. Understanding on the food costing process, food safety from source, food is we continue open because people is already aware and mindful to what they are eating for. And last but not least, I think the delivery and takeaway service will be still there and have a bigger portions in the food and beverages industry. Previously, it's only optional, but I think in the future it will be stay complementary with the dining in platform.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Joy. Okay, so now I think we can move to our next question, which is you might have already touched upon this, but I would like to ask it anyway, which is basically what are the key challenges faced by the F&B businesses? So you might have answered it, but maybe you want to elaborate on this. Who would like to go on this?
Yeah, I think I'll go first.
Yeah, sure.
So, okay, I think one of the main challenge in the F&B industry is that, you know, like what Pak Joy said previously, that the product, the presence, and also the people are the foundation of the F&B industry. So having gone through the pandemic, those, you know, this people, and lots of people that got laid off, and also the product that needs to be changed because of the logistic issue, as well as the presence, the store presence that you know, it was cut off because of the pandemic. You know, some of the many stores were closed because of the pandemic. So the challenge will be how to build this confidence back. You know, because it is not easy to build the confidence back, because it is not just us as the leader of the company, but also the team, the people, also the customers, whether the customers are willing to go the distance to still enjoy our products and everything. And also not just getting back there, but also getting back strong. That's, I think, was most important, the challenge, because during this pandemic we should be able to know the dire consequences of this pandemic, and we should be able also to understand what kind of a post-pandemic future that could relate to the business, and what kind of innovation that we should do to cope with the post-pandemic due to the changes behavior. So I think that's the challenge for the current F&B business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vico. So yeah, bringing back the confidence of the customers is actually one of the, like you said, it is a key challenge. So how are the customers going to react, and how businesses will actually bring back the confidence of the customer? It is something that businesses need to work on. Understood. Thank you so much for the answer. Okay, now, like you have already mentioned, that one of the, you can say, a major source is online. So businesses are moving from offline to online. Okay, it is because of several Joy said, and also convenience. Okay, so this online sale through online or e-commerce is is going to be something permanent. But now the question is, how are businesses shifting from offline to online? Are they developing their apps, or they are using marketplaces on the website? How are business, because not every business was online pre-pandemic. So how are business trying to go online? So that is basically the question. So anyone would like to answer this?
Yeah, I think how the business shifting from offline to online stores. Well, basically for coffee shop, since I'm in the industry of the coffee shop, it is very challenging for us to shift from the offline stores to the online stores due to the dairy product that we are using. However, it is very true that what you said before, that we are now, using or utilizing a lot in the digitalized places, such as the online delivery, and also our own apps becomes another channel, a big channel even, and also the and also the marketplace. And due to the pandemic, in the coffee industry, there's a new trend, which is the RTD, the 1 liter and also the 500 millis coffee. So it is a new wave of industry, for people to enjoy the coffee in at home, for 3 days, something like that. So the question is how we shift these channels from the offline, because previously in the coffee industry, 80% of the customers is the offline. Now, due to this, we have to have about more than 50% of our channel is the online. And how are we able to cater the product for the online? So that's what we also built. So the shifting is not just the channel, but also the product that cater the online services. I think that's from my side.
That's very important there. So it's not just about shifting from offline to online. They also have to adopt to. They have to change the menu also, like you said. That customers can consume in 2 or 3 days. So okay, this is very specific to coffee. Maybe from in the context of their businesses. So how are their businesses moving from offline to online?
Let me add, Asif.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's really insightful from what Vico said, right? Because it's not only transferring from the offline to online, but the question is what portfolio or what product is relevant to be also to serve in premises or in dining area or in home. So I think it's very good insight, because the coffee for home need the storage and also other treatment type of behavior of consumption. Coffee at home and also out of home is also different. So I think Pak Vico nailed it in the very good insight. In UFS Indonesia, I think same principle. It's not only moving offline to online, but it has to be transform all the end-to-end business. Because B2B is well known with the face-to-face business culture, right? When you engage selling, educating, menu ideation, and etc. But now it challenges us on how to do the customer engagement through virtual. So we need to transform ourselves, and in the same time is embrace it to our customer also, to how we can do the launching through virtual engagement, how we do the menu ideations, cooking demo through the virtual ideations. That is something that we need to transform. So offline to online is also changing from the demand creation itself, and also the order management system, how to sourcing the product, do the transactions, and also the supply management itself. So it's holistic transformations. We cannot do part by part, but it should be holistic transformation. Then I think in the future, there will be no 100% online or offline. And so the people who will, the business who will be thrive or survive will be the business who can find the right balance between the offline and online platform itself. That is, I think, additional from my side.
That's very important here. So, like, very important point you mentioned. So, not these all variables are interconnected, like you said. So, what product you offer, how you offer, and you have to see the whole picture holistically. It's a very useful insight here. Because of the shortage of time, maybe I will move on to our last question here. So the last question is, what are the opportunities and threats in 2021 for the F&B businesses?
Asif?
Yes, please.
Trying to answer that. What are the opportunities for the F&B business in 2020? Actually, from the data, we have to optimistic that F&B business still growth in 2020. 21 actually. Just the segment and the behavior are changed, like Pak Joy, Pak Dani, and Pak Vico that talking about the people behavior now change. People up to stay rather than to going out for meals. Yeah. So I think the e-commerce digital platform will be like a leading industry. I mean, especially for the F&B industry. And one thing is, I think I predict like, you know, the vending machine, like for the food, maybe will be become a new opportunity, like a new experience for the our peoples. Maybe now in Singapore and Japan, and in Japan there may be a vending machine already. I mean, known well over there, but I just predict in Indonesia will be become the new. I don't know. Maybe Pak Joy, Pak Dani, or Pak Vico agree or not, but I have predict that this is the new experience for our market. Yeah. So the concern, healthy and food safety, of course, one of the answer. About the trade, actually, COVID-19 still threat to our industry, because we don't know when we will end this pandemic. So we have to, I mean, be careful with this pandemic. We have to more creative, innovative with our, I mean, our business actually. That's Asif. What I mean, our opinion for the opportunity.
I think I like your point. Yes. Yes, Mr. Danny, you want to add?
If I may add something, I think the opportunities we are being forced to open up our mind to see a lot of new opportunities that we didn't see before. I mean, before we might not think that a 1 liter coffee might sell, right? I mean, people going to store the coffee in the fridge for 3 days and then they still consume it. We don't see that. I mean, a lot of people probably see, okay, they can an instant coffee or they can brew their own coffee at home. But now we have the opportunity to explore more on that side. I mean, we can create new menus, we can create new products, we can explore something that we never seen before. I mean, doing the innovations, that's going to be the opportunity, I think. But for the threat is in the future, I think if we cannot cope with the short-term planning, as we know, the pandemic is something that unpredictable, I would say. If we cannot think something very fast, we cannot innovate very fast. I mean, we still waiting and waiting and waiting. Probably a long time ago, if we innovate product, it might take 6 or 8 months. But now we have to think within weeks. What should we do? I mean, will it be acceptable to the customers, right? Yeah, I think the threat is if this COVID-19 is keep evolving and it doesn't stop, then the threat is we might not be able to cope with it. I think that's the only threat for us. Thank you, Asif.
Thank you, Mr. Danny. Thank you so much. Mr. Joy, you want to add?
Yeah, it's already some covering up by Sam and Danny, but I think I may add some point on the opportunity itself. So based on the learning, it's not only Indonesia but also the global research that what is people most longing for during the pandemic is going to the restaurant, enjoying the favorite coffee, favorite food in the restaurant, and going to cafe, hang out. That is what is most people longing for. So I mean that is the opportunity, because when this all the drama ends, then it's time for us to bounce back, because it's still something back in mind of all the people who staying at home currently. So the second one is that in the menu ideations like nutrition, health, immune boosters, wellness platform, will be some new territory that we can explore together in the food industry business, because of the raising of the people on the really mindful of what they are eating for. And the third one is takeaway and delivery platform is already there. I mean, I cannot imagine if Gojek and Grab is not present in Indonesia and pandemic, maybe the business is already totally stopped, because nobody can deliver everything. Or even if we want to deliver the food menu ideations, we need to buy a car, buy a motorcycle, hire so many people to deliver it. But I think that is the opportunity that already coming to Indonesia in the right time. And last but not least, in terms of opportunity, I mean that development of the payment helping Horeca business, food industry business to do the transactions. GoPay, OVO, and other payment gateway is make the smooth transitions from the how people do the transactions currently. But again, I agree with the Pak Denny and Pak Vico, Pak Sam. The threat is always the how long and how deep will be this pandemic ends. So if the lockdown, intermittent lockdown, small zoning area is happening, it will be really difficult for the food and service business, especially for doing forecasting. If we fail to forecast, then we fail to sell, or even if we're doing the high forecast that it will and it not consume well, it will come the business waste, the food waste, something that really we need to avoid. And I think the last threat is always with the small people mobility, that customer traffic is always become the imminent issue on how to survive in this business. And last but not least is the effectiveness of the vaccine itself. We have the full hope of the vaccine will end this story, but let's see whether the vaccine is really effective to stop this drama in the shorter period than what we expected before.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joy. I mean, there are so many points we have covered, and there are so many insights we have gathered. And I'm sure you can share, you can continue the whole day long because there's so much to cover, but unfortunately, because of the shortage of time, we have to wrap up our session. So yes, in conclusion, we can say that there are threats, but there are also opportunities. Businesses need to adopt to basically changing situation, like Mr. Vico said, bigger coffee bottles, or Mr. Sam raised a point where you have the vending machine. So yes, we really hope that this pandemic will end, but we will continue, and the businesses will continue to offer their products and services. We will continue the positive trends like online e-commerce for the convenience, and at the same time we will be also able to deal with the challenges. So at the end of the day, customers can really come back to the normal life. Like Mr. Joy said, they want to gather and they want to have parties together. So yes, with this hope, I will conclude the session. And thank you so much to all the panelists for giving all the insights. And I really hope that we will have another opportunity to have a discussion with you and get your points of view. Thank you so much.